the Planning Commission public hearing for January 7th to order. I would ask if everyone would please stand. We'll say the Pledge of Allegiance, but let's first start, if you would join us for a moment of silence for former President Carter. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much for being here. So tonight our agenda consists of going over the Cobb County Comprehensive Plan 2025 Proposed Amendments agenda. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to the staff.
All right. Good evening. Philip Westbrook, Community Development, Senior Planner, Community Development, and Happy New Year. Good to be here. Start off the new year in a wonderful fashion here with spending time with the Planning Commission. So before we get started, I want to kind of go over some background information about what the comprehensive plan is and why we're here and what we're doing. Through the Georgia Planning Act of 1989, they established comprehensive planning activities for every jurisdiction in the state. And part of that requirement is creating and maintaining a comprehensive plan, which is a long-range planning document that guides growth and development throughout the county over the course of the next 20 years. Since 1990, we've been updating comprehensive plans every 5-10 years. The state requires us to update it every 5 years. However, we typically, well, let me back up. Every 5 years, our last update was 2022, and we will be looking to update the comprehensive plan in 2027 as well. Typically, Cobb County also undertakes an annual update process, which is what we're here tonight for. It is not a requirement, but it's something that the county does to keep the plan dynamic and keep it moving forward. So, what we have here tonight, we have two types of amendments that we're going to undertake. We have zoning decisions. All right, so the zoning decisions are rezonings that occurred over a 12-month period beginning October of 2023 and moving through October of 2024. So in that 12-month period, we recorded all the zoning cases that were approved and that were incompatible with our future land use map. So in this case, we have 6 ZDs, or zoning decisions, and then we also have commission proposals. These are changes to the future land use map that have come down usually from the community or from the commissioners, the district commissioners, and have come to our attention and looking to revise the land use goals and guidance for those particular tracts of land. One thing I do want to stress to the Planning Commission as well as to the community, as the comprehensive plan and the future land use map is not a development ordinance. It is not a regulation. It does not impact the zoning of your property. It does not change the zoning. It is merely a tool in the toolbox for decision makers to make decisions, to help them make decisions. It is just merely a guide and recommendations for future growth and development throughout the county. So with that, I think a little bit of background. I think we can go ahead and start moving. If you're a good chair, we can move through the cases. And if you don't mind, unless you want to go through I can kind of go through the process of how this meeting will take place as far as going through each case and allowing the public to speak and so forth.
Yeah, happy to. So we will go through each case, starting with the zoning decisions and then going into the commissioner proposed amendment. And for each one, we will take public comment. If you want to comment, we will allow 3 minutes per speaker, and we'll do it case by case. So we'll go back.
You want to do it case by case? Okay.
Yep.
So let me also reiterate on the CPs. We did post signs in the area of where those commission proposals are located. And we also mailed letters to the property owners for them to have information about what was going on and as well as how they can provide feedback. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started with ZD1. And let's see. ZD1 is based on zoning case Z38 from October of '23. It is in Commission District 2. The existing future land use is low-density residential, and the proposed future land use is medium-density residential. The site is located on the west side of Spring Hill Road and on the south side of Simpson Road.
Thank you. This is in District 2, so I'll turn to Commissioner Anderson for a motion or comment.
And is there any public hearing at this time?
Yes, you'll
Okay.
need to ask if there's anyone that wants to speak.
Okay, great. Are there any comments from the audience in relation to ZD1? Okay. My motion then is to approve the change from LDR to MDR for the future land use category.
I have a second from Commissioner Boulogne. Any discussion? Not, let's call the question. It's a vote of 5-0 to recommend approval of ZD1. Thank you.
Okay, ZD2 is based on zoning case Z1, which was approved in February of 2024. It is in Commission District 4. The existing future land use is low-density residential and neighborhood activity center, and the proposed future land use is neighborhood activity center. The site is located on the east side of Mableton Parkway and on the north side of Community Road.
Is there anyone here in the audience that wants to speak to ZD2? Okay, if not, this is in District 4, so I will ask, look, I'm forgetting your name, Commissioner Hughes to speak on this one.
Thank you, Chairman. Since there was no comments regarding this, would recommend that we approve ZD2 as submitted.
I have a second.
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Lindstrom. Any discussion? If not, let's call the question. Vote of 5-0 to recommend approval of ZD2. Thank you.
Okay, ZD3 is based on Z12 from April of 2024. It is in Commission District 4. The existing featured land use is Mableton Town Center with subcategory of medium-density residential, and the proposed future land use is Mableton Town Center with subcategory neighborhood activity center. The site is located on the east side of Floyd Road and on the south side of Ayers Road.
Is there anyone in the audience to speak to ZD3? Seeing none, I will turn it back to Commissioner Hughes for comment or proposal.
Thank you, Chairman. Hearing no comment regarding ZD3, recommending that this be approved or submitted for recommendation or approval.
Second.
A second from Commissioner Lindstrom. Any discussion? Let's call the question. Vote of 5-0 to recommend approval of ZD4. Thank you. ZD3, sorry.
ZD4 is based on Z13, which was approved in May of 2024. It is in Commission District 2. The existing future land use is medium-density residential, and the proposed future land use is public institutional. The site is located on the west side of Cooper Lake Road, north of Daniel Street.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak to ZD4? Seeing none, I will turn it to Commissioner Anderson for discussion in District 2.
Thank you, Chairman. I move to approve the change in ZD4 from medium-density residential to public institutional.
Second the recommendation.
A second from Commissioner Boulogne. Any discussion? If not, let's call the question. Vote of 5-0 to recommend approval of ZD4. Thank you.
ZD5 is based on Z36 from August 2024. It is in Commission District 2. The existing future land use is Regional Activity Center with subcategory Retail Services, and the proposed future land use is Regional Activity Center with a subcategory of High-Density Residential. The tract is located on the southeast side of Lodge Road, east of Greer's Chapel Road.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak to ZD5? Seeing none, I will turn it again to Commissioner Anderson for discussion in District 2.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd make a motion at this time to approve the change for ZD5 from a Regional Activity Center RS to Regional Activity Center HDR.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Hughes. Any discussion? Let's call the question. That's a vote of 5-0 to recommend approval of ZD5. Thank you.
All right, ZD6 is based on Z15 from August of 2024. It is in Commission District 2. The existing future land use is Community Activity Center, and the proposed future land use is High-Density Residential. The site is located on the south side of Chastain Road, on the west side of Chastain Meadows Parkway.
All right, is there anyone here to speak for ZD6? Okay, come on up. And you will have 3 minutes. And if you'll just make sure you state your name for the record. Thank you.
Tammy Rubel. Good evening, Planning Commissioners. My name is Tammy Rubel, and I'm here representing the BFC and area residents. The BFC requests that you recommend denial of ZD6 from CAC to HDR. The proper rezoning needs to be MDR, and as HDR is too intense and not compatible with other area residents. The developer's rezoning application was for MDR for residential development, which we were in support of. The original stipulation stated no variances allowed, yet Z15 ended up with almost a dozen variances, which caused the density to be much higher, and the county is now compensating for that fact by changing the future land use to HDR. The county zoning code should have been adhered to instead of allowing it a made-up category. This approved development gives nothing back to the community in exchange for maximum density. Rezoning case Z1523 was heard by the BOC in December 23. The county denied the warehouse and told the applicant to come back with revisions. The developer changed the rezoning category completely from PVC to MDR in order to build a residential development on 60 acres on Chastain Road. Most of the land will be clear-cut, as Scannell did the 30 acres, which now contains 2 massive industrial warehouses, leaving little green space or established trees to buffer the noise and the air pollution from I-575. The zoning department recommended RA6 along with RA4 and 5, yet the developer changed the entire development to an RA6 with 45% impervious. The BFCA continually argued that the development needed to adhere to the requested MDR zoning category, a max of 5 units an acre. The zoning department stated as well that the number of units needed to be reduced from 343 to 296, but that was ignored by the applicant. Ultimately, the BOC approved the rezoning to RA. The code states a minimum of 20 acres instead of the 60, and now a minimum of 336 units with a minimum of 5,000 square feet. The code states 6,200, along with several other variances regarding minimum lot area, minimum setbacks, minimum foundation separation. With all these added variances, which the original stipulations prohibited, no such zoning category exists because it's too intense. Variances are the exception, not the norm, and should not be permitted. The number of units need to be reduced to be in line with an MDR. The proposed site plan was not ready for approval, but more work needed to be done. That was pushed through because the BOC district map was about to change, and this piece of property would go from District 3 to 2. In summary, why is the BOC not adhering to the county's codes and policies which they were elected to uphold? Due process was not followed. Z15 should have been withdrawn and resubmitted as a new rezoning case since site plans completely rechanged from a PVC to a PVC residential. Since it wasn't withdrawn, the stipulations needed to be followed, including no variance, and the ARC-DRR recommendations need to be incorporated as well. Who allowed this to be an a la carte zoning with the developer choosing which stipulations to follow and which to ignore? Residents have now been left with a highly intense, non-existent zoning category.
Time expired.
Enough's enough.
Your time is up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, if that's the only speaker, this is also in District 2, so I'll turn it back to Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Chairman Walt. Yep, so we discussed this development and, in a lot of detail, and I think the kind of view that I have is that this used to be, obviously it's switched districts, but it was one where there was a lot of coordination from when it came in as a PVC and some of the restrictions to what ultimately transpired at the Planning Commission. I think based on kind of the comments here and the desires of the community my recommendation here would be the denial of the change from a CAC to HDR.
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Ballon. Any discussion? If not, let's call the question. We'll vote 5-0. We recommend denial of ZD6. Thank you.
Okay, that wraps up the zoning decisions, and up next, we have our commission proposals. And Chairman, I think since there's a few more of the commission proposals, I think it might be better to go through each case one by one, and then just after I read off the case, just ask if there's anyone in the audience that likes to speak. They can raise their hand, and then we'll continue moving forward. And then at the end, after reading all the cases, the ones that didn't have anybody to speak on, go ahead and vote on those as a one lump vote. And then we can go back in chronological order for the ones that did have speakers and have them come up and speak one by one on those.
All right, let's do it.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Let's do that. Thanks.
All right, so we'll start off with Commission Proposal 1-1A. It is in Commission District 1 and proposes to change the future land use from low-density residential to public institutional. The site is located on the west side of Campus Loop Road, north of Chastain Road.
Is there anyone here to speak for CP 1-1A? Okay.
Okay. CP 1-1B is in Commission District 1 and proposes to change the future land use from Regional Activity Center with subcategory Retail Services and Regional Activity Center subcategory Office to Regional Activity Center Public Institutional. The track is located on the west side of Busby Drive, north of Big Shanty Road.
Is there anyone here to speak for CP 1/1B? All right, thank you.
All right. CP 1/1C is in Commission District 1 and proposes to change the future land use from priority industrial area to public institutional. The site is located on the east and west sides of Chastain Road, west of Town Point Drive, and south of Big Shanty Road.
Is there anyone here to speak for CP-1-1C? Thank you.
Okay, CP 1-1D is in Commission District 1 and proposes to change the future land use from Neighborhood Activity Center to Public Institutional. The site is located on the east side of Campus Loop Road and north of Big Shanty Road.
Anyone here to speak for CP-1-1D? All right, seeing none, thank you.
CP 1-2 is in Commission District 1 and proposes to change the future land use from Regional Activity Center with subcategory Retail Services to Community Activity Center. The site is located on the west side of Greer's Chapel Road, south of Ernest Barrett Parkway.
Is there anyone here to speak for CP-1-2? Seeing none, thank you.
CP 1-3 is in Commission District 1 and proposes to change the future land use from priority industrial area to park recreation conservation. The site is located on the west side of Barrett Lakes Boulevard, north of Cobb Place Boulevard.
Excuse me, anyone here to speak to CP-1-3? Seeing none, thank you.
CP 1-4 is in Commission District 1 and proposes to change the future land use from low-density residential to public institutional. The site is located on the west side of Powder Springs Road, south of County Services Parkway.
Anyone here to speak to CP-1-4? Seeing none, thank you.
CP 3-1 is in Commission District 3 and proposes a change in the future land use from medium-density residential to low-density residential. The site is located on the east side of Alabama Road, north of Lindsay Way.
Anyone here to speak to CP-3-1? One? Kat? We'll come back to you. You can keep your seat. Thank you.
CP 3-2 is in Commission District 3 and proposes to remove the existing small area policy guideline that currently exists on the track. The site is located on the west side of Johnson Ferry Road, north of Paper Mill Road.
Anyone here to speak to CP-3-2? Seeing none, thank you.
CP 4-1 is in Commission District 4 and proposes a change in the future land use from neighborhood activity center to low-density residential. The site is located on the south side of Perkinson's Mill Road, west of Austell Road.
Any speakers for CP-4-1? I see one. All right, we'll come back to that one. Thank you.
CP 4-2 is in Commission District 4 and proposes a change in the future land use from neighborhood activity center to low-density residential. The site is located on the north and south sides of Evergreen Drive and Warren Drive, west of Austell Road.
Anyone here to speak to CP-4-2? Seeing none, thank you.
CP 4-3 is in Commission District 4 and proposes a change in the future land use from medium-density residential to low-density residential. The site is located on the west side of Cooper Lake Road, north of Veterans Memorial Highway.
Anyone to speak to CP-4-3? Seeing none, thank you.
And that concludes our commission proposals.
Thank you. So we will entertain a motion to recommend approval of all the commissioner proposed amendments except for CP 3-1 and CP 4-1.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Commissioner Anderson. Any discussion? Let's call the question. A vote of 5-0 to recommend approval of the commissioner proposed amendments minus CP 3-1 and CP 4-1. Thank you. At this time, we will hear from the speaker for CP 3-1. Good evening, and you will have 3 minutes, and just make sure to state your name for the record.
Yes. I just was in question still
Okay.
about,
Just make sure you state your name for the record.
okay, my name is Sheila Jett. I have property next to this proposal, land proposal, and have been there since 1972. And I've had a hair salon since 79, 80. And I just want to be sure that I understand, what, that the proposal is, because, that little stretch of Cobb County has got just a few neighbors that I have known for years. And, I just don't want that to keep my property from being able to be used for what, that I've had my heart set for all these years, or for, the selling of it, because, this has been, my life, and it's our retirement, it's, everything, and I wouldn't want it to be, going backwards to anything that would hurt that, because if it would hurt the use of it or the sale of it, it's not right after all these years, because you can walk 2 feet to the Waffle House, the Goodwill, you know, everything all around. And all of Fulton is commercial this way, and all of, you know, Cherokee is got commercial, and it's this one little stretch that turns down Sandy Plains to Alabama Road. It's just got a few little houses for years and years. And I've never had no opposition all this many years, except from the, you know, Cobb County. And I just, you know, I'm asking for favor and blessing and all to be able to, you know, continue. I've had hairdressers in there at one time. Right now, there's just myself. But that is my, like I said, retirement and way of making a living. And I just want to be able to use it, or if I was to sell it, that it would not be where you couldn't, after all this many years of waiting and waiting, you know, to not be heard. I guess that's what I'm asking from my heart.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And this is in District 3, and so I will turn it to Commissioner Lindstrom to lead our discussion.
David, Brian, I'd like to ask you if this is changed from MDR to LDR, will that affect her business?
I don't believe the change in the future use, land use designation would change the existing business there. And remember that the comprehensive plan, the future land use is a guiding document. It doesn't necessarily directly affect existing zoning. Now, if Philip wants to elaborate on that.
Yeah, first of all, her description of where she is located, I don't think is within the amendment area. She said she was across the street. So first of all, the amendment doesn't impact her site at all. But even if she did, it would not, even if she was within the amended area, it would not impact her business. She would still be able to remain, her zoning or whatever, the land use permit that she has gathered would allow her to continue her business as she's using it today. It would not impact anything about her business, and that's if she's within the amended area. But based on her description, she's on the other side of Alabama Road. And so this definitely would not impact her.
Okay, thank you. Is the citizen still here? I can't see. She's here. Can you come back up? Could you tell me again, in relation to the map that can you see that map? Is your property within that yellow circle, square? The
You know,
regular.
it's kind of, you know, right across the street from where that road comes out, Lindsay Way. It's, you know, it's really the house next to me that, you know, comes out, I think, where you're talking about the 11 acres coming out of Burnham Woods subdivision.
Do you live on Lindsay Way?
No, I live on Alabama Road, Highway 92, Rawsville, Cobb County.
Okay, so you are not affected by this?
Not at all.
No,
Okay,
not at
so,
all. In fact, this may even help you.
all right, I appreciate that. I just want to, you know, make sure that, you know, there was nothing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming in tonight.
Motion from you.
Yeah, so I would like to make a motion to approve this
Okay.
from a future land use of medium density down to low density residential, LDR,
Do I have a second?
Second?
Second from Commissioner Anderson. Any discussion? Let's call the question. Vote of 5-0 to recommend approval of CP 3-1. Thank you. Now we will hear from the speaker for CP 4-1. Good evening, and you will also have 3 minutes, and just state your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Robert Ross. I am a property owner within this proposal. First of all, I received no notification about this whatsoever. I found out from a neighbor, which doesn't impress me very much, and as well, the property owner to the west of me had no notification either. My understanding is you're wanting to take this property from low-density residential to NAC, which is Neighborhood Activity Center.
Can I
Is that
pause you?
correct?
It's the opposite. We want to take it from a neighborhood activity center to low-density residential.
Okay, so what does that do? I'm trying to get educated here.
Yeah, not a problem.
What does that do to, okay, my home, my property, my neighbor's home, her property within this proposal? What changes?
Mr. Chairman, if I can make a recommendation, allow the speaker to conclude his remarks, and then any questions you have, then allow staff to come up and entertain questions from the Planning Commission.
Okay, perfect. And I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to make sure you had that designation right, that it's the other way around. But go ahead and finish your remarks, and then we'll get your questions answered.
Okay, again, I have no speech prepared. I'm really just trying to find out what this change encompasses. So you make the zoning change, then what happens? Why the need for the change? That's all I've got.
Thank you. So if you have a seat, we're going to have Mr. Westbrook come back up and address your first question that you asked. Uh-oh. And Mr. Westbrook, if you could address the this particular case and the change, the need for the NAC to low-density residential.
Yeah, certainly. And also, I want to make sure that we make every effort to notify the property owners with letters. We just do a mailing of the property owners, and we don't really go back and check to see if every individual property owner is being mailed. We just basically do use GIS to do the addressing. So I hate it that they did not get the information, but we'll check into it to see what the problem was to make sure we can learn from that process. And I'm glad he was able to be noticed by the neighbor. But so first, to get back to what his question is, first of all, this is not a zoning. We're not changing the zoning of the property. The property owner will still be able to live there as long as he wants to live there. We cannot rezone the property. That is solely up to the property owner. He has to initiate that rezoning, and that's not what we're here for tonight. This is a future land use change. Again, this is just a guide for future development. Right now, his property, the guide is showing commercial uses. So if he wanted to rezone his property, there could potentially be commercial businesses on the property. We're changing it off the neighborhood activity center, off of that commercial entity, and changing it to the use that is there now, which is low-density residential. So we're actually moving it away from the commercial to low-density residential from a future land use guideline standpoint. The zoning of the property still will remain whatever the zoning is. If I had to guess, it's probably R20. But he will be able to continue to live there and remain there as long as he would love to.
Thank you.
You can ask any questions you would like. You certainly can. You can ask
So, sir, can you come back up? I'm sorry. You told me his name. I forget his name. Did you get it? Robert Ross. Okay, Mr. Ross, sorry, I was trying to get your name right. If you'll get back on the mic, I just wanted to make sure, one, I wanted to make sure, did Mr. Westbrook answer your questions, or did you have further questions?
I think so for the most part.
Okay, okay. We just want to make sure you get your questions in, because it's not changing your zoning, but we want to make sure you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a completely different idea.
Okay,
So,
no problem.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this is in District 4, so I will turn it to Commissioner Hughes for proposal and discussion.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Phil. Just a question for you in looking at some of the justification for this recommendation. I see here there's a note about adherence to nodal development patterns, and I'm assuming this allows you to be more consistent with that nodal development pattern
Correct.
in terms of concentrating commercial
Right,
activity.
it's to help eliminate sprawl, commercial sprawl. So especially out on the outer edges of neighborhood activity centers, especially when they start stretching down corridors, we like to try to hone those into intersections, that nodal development. You see a lot of it on Dallas Highway and even Austell Road. And I believe this is close to an intersection with Austell Road and Perkinson Mill. So it's really trying to keep that commercial sprawl in check and not sprawling down the corridor.
Okay, and then just to sort of state the obvious, the recommendation is intended to more accurately reflect what's actually occurring on the property.
That's correct.
Okay, all right, I think with that, I'm prepared to offer a recommendation approving CP 4-1 from Neighborhood Activity Center to low-density residential.
I'll entertain a second.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Lindstrom. Any discussion? Let's call the question. Vote of 5-0 to recommend approval of CP 4-1. And Mr. Westwick, does that conclude your cases today?
It does, and I just want to let everyone know that this is the first of 2 public hearings. Our next public hearing is the Board of Commissioners, the deciding vote, which will be held Tuesday, January 21st at 9 a.m.
Thank you so much, Mr. Westbrook. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
If there's no further business, we can adjourn. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for being here.